It's gonna be a great one tonight. Alright you guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and you guys already know what I'm going to be doing tonight. I'm going to be taking a picture of the Wizard Nebula through my telescope. And I actually am quite hesitant to set up tonight because the skies don't look that great. And sometimes when the skies don't look that great, even if the weather doesn't look that good, like maybe if it says partly cloudy, it's a good idea to always have your gear ready to go, just in case there's an opening in those clouds. But right now I'm in one of those scenarios where the clouds are actually really thin and they cover the entire sky. So yeah, I mean, it's fine if the clouds are kind of in little patches, but if they're covering the entire sky like this and kind of like a thin layer, it's not really ideal. But we're gonna hopefully see if these clouds will go away and there'll be a gap in these clouds. This is actually one of my only times that I can film this week for a YouTube video because there's a massive heat wave coming right now. So tomorrow it's gonna be around 90 degrees, the next day 95, and finally Thursday at the time of filming this video will be close to 110 degrees. Now, little do viewers really know, but you have to pick a lot of good filming opportunities, like when it's dusk, it's nice and cool outside, and for me, when the sun actually doesn't hit the backyard of my house. You might notice that in my first YouTube video, I was filming in broad daylight. It was just completely shrouding my yard, and I actually was not even able to look at the camera because the sun was right in my eyes, so I actually had to put on a hat, but that didn't really help either. So picking ideal filming times and locations is actually really important. We're here to talk about space, so let's talk about some space. So yes, I know, Cygnus. Well, actually, for all you people out there who are gonna complain about this even more, nobody complains about it, by the way. The Wizard Nebula is actually located in the constellation of, you guessed it, it's located in the constellation of Cepheus, something finally different. I finally moved on from Cygnus for the summer, and I will not be taking any more pictures in the constellation of Cygnus for the rest of the year. I'm going to save that for next year when I decide to take Cygnus a little bit more seriously. But its actual name is NGC 7380, and let's be honest, nobody really calls the Wizard Nebula by that name anyway. The Wizard Nebula is just a cooler name. But besides Cepheus having a little bit of a boring looking constellation line, unlike Cygnus or the Big Dipper, it actually holds some of the most insane astrophotography targets. And when I mean insane, I mean just absolutely amazing targets that any astrophotographer can shoot. Like the Elephant's Trunk Nebula, which I've been shooting in secret, by the way. And of course, the famous Wizard Nebula. Now, why do they call it the Wizard Nebula? Well, it took me a while to figure out why they call it the Wizard Nebula in the first place, but you can actually see the wizard if you just look a little bit closely into the Wizard Nebula itself. Now, a little fun fact, the Wizard Nebula is not actually the target for the Wizard Nebula. Now, let me explain. NGC 7380 is actually the star cluster, and there is surrounding nebulosity, but that surrounding nebulosity is actually quite bright. And that is the Wizard Nebula, and that is just a little, I guess, hidden feature of the star cluster, is that insane nebulosity that completely engulfs the star cluster itself. I've actually shot this target before. I shot it last year with my stock DSLR, and it gave me a rather poor result. See, in Cepheus, it lies right in the middle of the Milky Way arch, and the Milky Way arch contains a ton of stars. And when I took this shot of the Wizard Nebula last year, I was noticing that there were too many stars in my image, and before I had all the good processing that I had now and the filter, the stars were actually starting to outshine the nebula itself. So I wasn't really able to see much of the nebula, and it was rather disappointing. I also spent a month of trial and error just working on that single target itself, and it really started to get me mad when I didn't get the result that I really wanted, but it really pushed me to improve on my processing skills, and that really helped out a bit. This time around though, I have a completely new approach to taking an image of the Wizard Nebula tonight. I'm going to be using my new camera, Player One Artemis C Pro, which is a huge upgrade from my stock DSLR. And I'll also be using a dual narrowband filter to help block out a lot of the light pollution that exists in my imaging area. The Optolong L Enhance will really help with grabbing all this detail from this nebula while completely eradicating a lot of the light pollution that just just exists everywhere. It will help me isolate the red and blue channels of light that will be able to give me a really dynamic image of this target. See, another thing that people don't really know about dual narrowband filters, or just really tight narrowband filters, and when I mean tight, I mean narrowband filters that are a lot tighter in terms of the bandpass of light that they allow to pass through. The tighter the bandpass, the better, and this is because we want a tighter bandpass so we can remove less light pollution. If we have a wider bandpass of light, then we're going to let in more light and more light pollution. So let's say we have a 3 nanometer HA filter, and HA is just short for red light in this sense. If we have a 3 nanometer HA filter, that means that it is extremely tight and it will almost completely eliminate all light pollution from entering your camera sensor and into your final image. But another hidden feature that these filters do is they will actually shrink a lot of these stars that you see, and this was a huge problem for me when I imaged this last year. With my filter, I will be able to minimize a lot of the star brightness, and you can see a lot of the star brightness if you're using no filter. If you're imaging in a dark location, of course those stars are going to pop out a lot more. Or if you're imaging broadband like galaxies and a lot of those targets that don't need to be isolated by any nebula band passes. With this filter and its natural star reduction technique, I should be able to really minimize these stars already before actually doing a star reduction in processing this image. So it's going to really help because I told you that there's just a ton of stars in this area, so it will really save myself from a lot of those problems coming up. So for many astrophotographers and a lot of the experienced ones, there is a certain color mapping technique when you edit your pictures called SHO. And SHO stands for sulfur, hydrogen, and oxygen. And these are materials or gases in space that we map to the RGB channels of light to give us a golden and blue looking yellow image. Now in natural light, most of this red color will obviously appear red, but if you've seen a lot of the Hubble Space Telescope pictures, especially the Pillars of Creation image, you might notice that a lot of that color is actually yellow and blue and not really a lot of that red. And that is from something that we call the Hubble palette, and this is also called SHO. In my opinion, some targets actually look better in this color scheme, and sometimes I really like to push the boundaries of what I can really image in natural light, and I like to make my colors pop with a lot of saturation and vibrance. I also think that some targets actually look better in this SHO rendition instead of the original natural light that they actually emit, because if you use an SHO color map, you might actually be able to resolve a lot more different individual details or gases that you might see in a lot of these nebula pictures. And tonight, that's going to be exactly the case. I'm going to be processing this image in SHO and not in red typical color. So I've still been doing some looking around, and these skies don't really look like they're improving at all, and it's really disappointing, to be honest. I really wanted more time on this target. And a little disclaimer, I have been imaging this for a couple days now, and the results are absolutely amazing. I've been gone from my house a lot because of a lot of weekend activities, and I've just been having my setup ready to go, so I've really been imaging this for quite a while, but I haven't actually processed it yet. So I'm very excited to see the image that I will actually be able to get out of here. Well, I think I've accepted it. I don't think tonight's going to be clear, and I hope that this video kind of brings some reality to a lot of the weather and all the stuff that we see a lot in this hobby. So you might think that like every time we're out here, it's just always clear and the weather's perfect. That is 100% false. Most of the time, there's always something that comes up, like just these clouds that randomly come in. Like 2 days ago, I was out and clouds just randomly came in. The weather did not say anything about it happening, but you know, sometimes it happens. But like I said, it's always good to have your setup out. But the thing about clouds that is just really awesome is that they can actually really produce some really good sunsets. So even though this is an astrophotography channel, one thing you might want to know about me is that I love taking pictures of sunsets, and I love nature. I love a lot of the just general daytime photography, and I hope that I can really connect with you guys a little more about what I like to do beyond astrophotography. So we'll see if the sunset's good at least. I mean, I do have some good data on this target already, but of course it'll be nice to have another night on it, but sometimes we just gotta take what we can get here. So right now, I think I'm just gonna wait it out for the sunset, and we're gonna see if it's a good one, because I've gotten some incredible sunsets this summer, so I hope that this one might be a good one. Well, I think I might actually head over across the street to a field that is actually perfect for these sunsets, so I might take you guys along with me. But before I go, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. This is not really the typical video. This is not what I was really expecting, but it's just a little change of pace, something a little different, and I just want you guys to know that astrophotography is just, it's amazing, but things always come up that are unexpected, so just always be prepared for that. Expect the unexpected. I also want to thank you guys so much for the support recently. I recently just passed 100 subscribers about a week ago, and now I have 135 as of the making of this video, and it's just really a great thing to see for my channel, and I love that you guys are watching these videos, giving me feedback. It really helps me out for a small channel like myself. And I've said it many times, it means the world that I get to share this with you guys. It's just completely new, and it's a great way for me to just stay happy with maybe a lot of the troubles that might be going on. So I want to thank you guys so much. All right, the sunset's looking awesome, so let's go head on over there. So even though this wasn't the video that you guys were expecting, you might have been expecting a traditional astrophotography video. Sometimes things just get thrown up in the air and you have to take the amazing opportunities that you have to take. Astrophotography brings a world of experiences, night and day, and I hope this shows you guys that just the experience of being out here, sharing it with you guys, really takes a toll on things. And the fact that when I started doing this, I had no idea that it would take me to places that I've never imagined. Things and images that I've taken pictures of that are just out of this world. And the fact that it can just unite me under the earth itself, and seeing sunsets, waiting for the sun to go down, seeing the first star, it really all adds up, and it's just absolutely amazing that I can just do this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this different kind of video, and now for the image reveal, and I hope you guys enjoy my image of the Wizard Nebula at the end of this video. I'll see you guys soon, and clear skies.